Hey, Vincent Gonzalez, lead executive organizer of Community Control Now. Community Control Now, we are a grassroots political organization, a radical grassroots black political organization, which holds the prime objective of not boldly going, but we are trying to democratize policing, pending abolition in this town, okay? We're also a radical vegan group, and we do plays, surprisingly. All three of those things, figure out some way to put it together, but just to speak on, I'll speak on my experiences in 2020, so 36. I've been in the social justice, civil rights struggle in this town since I was 15 years old. I'm trying to do the math on that. Through organizing through various groups. This one here, I kind of put my organizing experience in like pre and post Breonna Taylor. If y'all saw some of the stuff, this pretty much changed the game. I don't know, we'll just show of hands. Pretty well, yeah, but it was like global news. So at the time this pops off, Breonna Taylor was murdered by the police on March 15th. We did not take the streets until sometime in late May, early June. This was subsequent to, I think, the George Floyd stuff was going down, and that was one of the calls that we had out there to say her name, because it was like, so this guy killed 6 months ago, and you know, the George Floyd stuff, I think they burned one of the police stations down in Minneapolis, and then everybody's like, oh my God, they killed a woman, and 6 months, it was like, okay, well, here we are. It kind of tells on the whole thing a little bit, don't you think? You know, let's hustle backwards, and then, oh my God, Breonna Taylor. So when that popped off, I don't know, and then Shorty, I don't know who was out there, any of the protests, I remember, yeah, so, surely by the numbers, but I would say, based on, I'm biased of course, I think the impact at one time perhaps superseded and the George Floyd case, and then if you following some of that, the officer who had his knee on who murdered George Floyd, he's currently in prison. So to some people, that struggle had some sort of like way more advancement than here. I don't know if you follow the Breonna Taylor case ended with, when my man just said they gave, this was, if anybody saw the Department of Justice, the top cops in the country said, this the police department is so fucked up that it's like irreparably, reading through it, they all but say, start over, motherfucker. This shit is like, it's irreparably broken, but they managed to, one of the recommendations, I think that's what you was alluding to, is, and I swear, please read this, it says it dead ass like, the police wouldn't kill as many people if they wasn't so stressed out. They need a gym. If they had a spa, that's what, like, so this is what we're working with here, you know. So I was out there second week, got radicalized, was on some liberal shit, and realized that wasn't working. When I say that, concessions to, okay, well, all the things they kind of tell you to do within the constructs of call your representative, and we did all of that. So this is where I'm coming from. If it sounds, that's why it sounds a little rough sometimes. It's like not to poo-poo the sincere, honest efforts of people trying to make a change out here. We all like this, and to get to, I'm a black radical, which means we get to the roots of the matter. Fuck whatever they told us it was, you know what I mean? We know, and we have lived experience. We studied the politics and the contradictions, and it's a struggle. You know, so say all of this too. We had YCL and ECP USA. We did a march after. What was that last year? We did a march. The was an LMPD officer trying to break up something, some bullshit. It's always some bullshit, but had their finger on it. Shot 2 kids for something that I don't even. You know what I'm saying? They do so much bullshit. It's hard if you're studying this stuff. It's hard to keep up. That's why we gotta abolish this, because it's like I can't remember everything they do, but I remember I said something. I was like, it's as if none of this ever happened. And you know what I'm saying? This was on record, over 120 days in the street, which was considered unprecedented. Cumulative of tens of thousands, anywhere between a few thousand in the street at any given time at its height. So just like, if you go on the Palestine thing, all of this stuff is like, I love how you said that, this is all in concert, okay? The same, and I love this, a cool little story. This is why Solidarity Forever, I'm an internationalist. We did through our group, we did a hunger strike. Google that. Hunger strike was for Brianna during this. It was around, it was at the height of the time. It was like July. Myself and 4 others. I went 16 days without eating. The other people in it, they went up to like 25. The demand was to get the officers who busted in Breonna Taylor's spot, get them fired, strip them of their pension. I think at the time, a lot of the call was lock them up. We're prison abolitionists, so we, fuck with your money, so, and this is like Solidarity Forever. I remember we did over 47 pieces of like international and national media. We spoke with the BBC and the Guardian, all these places, and one time I got a message. It was like day 15. It's like, solidarity from Gaza. We're with you. It's like our group is Palestinians in the struggle. He said, we're going to fast for 3 days in solidarity with you. This is a place with calorie restrictions. You feel me? So it's just like, man, anybody tell me that this ain't, we're not in the same game, like, I don't want to hear that. This is like, this is the matter at hand here. So the struggle continues with this. But I did want to sort of kind of pepper in some of the stuff off of what you did. I wanted to, I centered my analysis. Check this book out here. The guy who wrote, there's actually 2 books that are like foundational in my analysis of what's going on in this town. Life Behind a Veil, Blacks in Louisville, Kentucky, 1865 to 1930. And then there's a book, he actually wrote it later, but it talks about post-Reconstructions, and the title tells on the whole thing, Racial Violence in Kentucky. So, as you were saying, the reason why this was one of the biggest free black populations was because the Klan, basically, like this was a terror ground. Black people were not safe unless they were congregated in, the neighborhood, safety in numbers. And I wish people would center that in. It's like the Great Migration, and we would just pack up our things and go. It's terrorism. It's like fucking Al Qaeda. If you check out that racial violence book, they lost count. We will never know the number of people that they lynched in the days. So these things I wanted to read a short little excerpt and just kind of get a little something from y'all. In 1967, the Reverend Martin
Luther King Jr. spent several weeks in Louisville leading open housing demonstrations. King said that he encountered more white hatred in Louisville, a border city, than in any other city in the Deep South. Raise your hand if you knew that. You know, yeah, so a few here, but like, why don't they tell us that? If you grew up in this town, well, that one, when I first heard that, I was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a reason for that. Behind his tranquil appearance, however, laid a more somber record. I think that's referring to Todd talked about how by the upfront appearance, you know, this wasn't Birmingham, Montgomery. They weren't like killing us, lynching us left and right that we know of. Also, in the same breath, they were very shitty record keepers. Okay, so you know what I mean. Let them tell it. This was and growing up in this town. That's sort of the perception. I don't know if anybody who grew up here, what's on your
I didn't grow up here, but I feel like it definitely corroborates with that narrative that, oh, the South is way worse than the North. The North, there's no racism. Well, no racism.
It's America.
Right, it's
It's
way
America.
worse than the South. Like, I feel like I was taught that, like, and I've always been told that, but I definitely have heard stories of people being like, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Like, it's just as worse, if not worse, up here. And I feel like that definitely, like, aligns with that word.
Yeah.
I want to add that I grew up here, and you know, it's kind of enlightening when you find out that the positions of the highways, like the 264, the 265, were purposefully placed to separate those outside the 264 and those within the 264, and then the border between like 65 South, the 65 interstate, so what's west of that, and then you have Old Louisville, and then past Old Louisville and downtown, and you have the west end, and that's like past 9th Street, and like just the way that the infrastructure was placed on purpose to be an obstacle. So like how Broadway was an obstacle in the previous slides I was talking about, they made the interstates an obstacle today. So that's just something to consider.
Yeah, this is a construct. It's not the, oh man, those blacks we really don't like. No, we designed the infrastructure to carry out our white supremacist agenda. You know what I mean? Like we can't, what is that, you know, I think it's a Kwame Ture quote where it's like, if you hate me, you know what I'm saying, that's your problem. If you have the power to carry on, paraphrasing it, my man probably won't quote better, but if I have the power, you know, it makes it more material. If I have the means, the infrastructure, the economic, I control the social dimensions, what's going on, I control politics. If I have that, that's my problem. You know what I mean? It goes beyond, oh man, those blacks, you really don't like them. No, they are exploiting people. So as a radical thinker, we look at this dialectic. There's an exploiter class, there's the people doing the bullshit, and then there's the people who are affected by the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I think, and I'm trying to like put all of this in concert because based on the upfront, it's not that bad. All of that can play tricks on your mind, and how you thinking, and it's all good, but it's not. I mean, well, before October 7th, where was everybody at? In that the struggle was going on. So when did the first knockout happen? 40s. Okay, it never stopped. You know what I mean? So it's like these are. I caution just from all the Black history talks I've been a part of. It's just like we have to continue to get to the roots of this thing. Like, and from that, we have to make a decision on how we carry out the struggle. If we believe it's an exploiter class, then exploit it. You know what I mean? If we're drawing that line, how much can we, you know what I'm saying, gain, and how much are they gonna like concede to us? You know, Frederick Douglass said that power concedes nothing without a demand. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. And I mean, look at this, post-Reconstruction, what, 1865? What's today? Okay, I can't hold my breath that long. You know what I mean? We have a struggle, we have a fight on our hands here. Like I said, it exists socially, politically, economically. So we centered that. There's another quote from here. I was going back to what I was saying before, but behind this tranquil appearance of the racial relations in town, however, laid a more somber record. Adequate housing has been a continuing problem for blacks who are excluded from many of Louisville's neighborhoods. Okay, this is the most segregated city in America. Based on 85% of the black people live on one side of town, within a 3-mile radius of this. How many people knew that? We got any urban planner, social work, sociology, social science majors in here? Why don't they say that? Why aren't they telling us this? You know? Because you know what I mean? It tells on the whole thing among other stuff here. So as we center our struggle, I would honestly, for myself, trying to get it into, I'm gonna kind of wrap up here in a couple minutes, but we centered our struggle in control now. We put that public safety apparatus. I mean, this is pretty much the contradictions still remain. As we know, as contradictions go, we live in a constantly expanding universe. If we don't deal with them, they will get worse. The motherfuckers in charge of it, they'll get, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we center the public safety struggle for black liberation. You know, why is it black people are 4 times, I've had to memorize this stat to get it right. Okay, we got a black man unarmed, and we got a white person with a gun. Unarmed black man is 4 times more likely to be killed by the police than a white man with a gun. And we see it with all these mass shooters, you know what I mean, who they apprehend alive. Breonna Taylor was sleeping in her bed. So that off top, so don't tell me that the contradictions are, oh hey guys, and you know, over here. So let me see what your slide is here. Yeah. I want to kind of pepper in on this point. This is one point that I want to emphasize on. Like I said, we center culture, and we center the politics in this matter, among other things. So under that veil system that they created, it's very important, and this is kind of why we're here now. This is why we used to go out to this campus and talk to anybody about the contradictions going on with Palestine, going on with you know, black life in this town, the police struggle with housing. Most people, like, what the fuck you talking about, you know what I mean? Or I'm trying to get mine, whatever. It's like, the design was the white, like, leadership. It was a small group of white leaders in this town. Many of them were ex-Confederates. How bare of a shape a black person will get into town. I was a general in the Confederate Army. Not looking good. They designed it where they elevated certain black leaders, as we say in the movement, black misleadership, that they knew wasn't going to say nothing about civil rights. So it's, and then that colors, when we look through some of these books, I've lost count the number of like, and you know what I'm saying, to radically analyze these things. Next time you see a Blacks in Louisville type book, you'll see, you know, Reverend so-and-so, and he organized the chicken dinner and stuff, and it's like some of that is, we know his name from history because white leadership said, okay, dude, you're gonna be the dude who is like, all the blacks come to you, and look, there's some money. Don't say nothing about how our housing is fucked up, and I mean, just so many different stories. It was talking about next to where he was saying in Portland, there was, anybody know about Little Africa? Yeah, what was Little Africa?
Oh, I just heard about it.
You just heard about it. Well, I'm gonna keep it G. Little Africa was a series of basically like stilted shacks in a row, and it had a cesspool in the middle. This was the housing for black people at the turn of the 20th century in this town. We fucked up a little Africa like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so all black people go, and I think at that time, by 1920, black people on average made like $300 a year. Okay, so 1920. That's just it just hammers in, you know, shit was fucked up. So, you know, the elevation, so where we find ourselves here is like the struggle continues. What say you? Like, if we know all those terrible things we said in all these different slides, the contradictions were never fully remedied. So what we doing here? You know what I'm saying? To me, I mean, you know what I'm saying? We either saying cool, we got our heads in the sand, or we fighting back. Alright, so community control now, we see ourselves on the other side of that athletic. We're trying to, you know what I mean, fight for black liberation. Let's that first one here. Anybody, let's just shoot them out. What does black liberation truly look like in this town? Anybody?
I mean, I'm not, I can't really speak to that, but.
What is liberation?
Well, liberating yourself from oppression, from exploitation.
There you go.
So,
Yeah. Freedom from oppression. So what is oppression? Shout out, you know.
Systemic, I guess, flattening of a certain population and restriction of their ability to live and prosper on their own and within each other too.
Sound like Gaza. Facts. You know what I mean? Oppression is it's a material struggle. Okay? They're restricting, and we know the end goal of any oppressive construct is genocide. White supremacy, transphobia. You see that, like, you know, they're all but the ceasefire is, I think, what was it? The U.S. just vetoed the only country. We live in the cranium of the beast. You know what I'm saying? The only country to veto it. So, you know, this is the struggle and where it remains here. Learn from the mistakes of the past. Anybody got anything on that? What any one mistake that you saw in how black folk try to get free in this town?
You know, I don't want to be like the sole voice because obviously I'm white, but I did want to emphasize the point he made before that you have like leaders, supposed leaders who like sell themselves, sell the community out, sell them out, you know, for a buck. So yeah, so like even though black churches did play a role in the past, like the role that they did play, you know, was very controlled, and it's very controlled, especially now, because you have like, you know, it's the same thing with like white mega churches. You have black mega churches that like really don't serve the community but serve their own ends. So, you know, relying on institutions that we get you.
What could black people win in the church struggle? Like, where, so we have to know, well, I got you there. We got to know the constructs of the places that, and these institutions proclaim themselves to be a part of the solution. They might get some money that purports them as we're the ones that's going to fix it. So what, I mean, we can just spit that out. Any church, black church in particular, but what could you concede in a political, social, economic struggle? What were they doing for you?
I mean, I feel like in the same breath that there definitely was a whole lot of problems with that. I feel like that was something we could also learn from, in that we definitely need community. Like, we need a place where people can go and find hope and feed each other and find communion. And I feel like the church was a perfect place for that. but it's, again, under the guise of like white supremacist teaching and just actions in general, but I definitely think community was a good thing we should learn from the past,
Yes.
and that it wasn't a mistake.
Absolutely, yeah, so that's, that's good. Critical analysis of these things, we extract those parts of it, get to the roots, and see, okay, boom, that community piece, solid. That's the only, of those who are actively struggling for any sort of material gains, at best, we're talking about, at any given time, 5% of the population. So we need all the social, congregant formations that we can get. You know what I'm saying? The lot is few. How we doing on time?
We got
7 minutes, okay. Like you said, anybody else? Anything here?
I think like thinking about like learning from the past, like what comes to mind for me immediately is like the Black Panther Party.
Mhm.
Talking about like community building, mutual aid, a free breakfast club, and what security means for our communities.
Yeah.
And I think like modeling some of our organizing after like these organizations that were so successful,
Yeah.
and even so successful that the FBI had to assassinate our
Yeah.
Black and brown leaders.
Yeah.
So I think modeling some of our organizing off of how these militant, radical orders were able to back then today would be a good way to learn.
Yeah, I think that, it's just like, I think that's a sign of you're on to something, is when they bugging you, and you know what I mean? And then when they, that's what, and then you gotta have to counter for that.
Like on the same note, recognizing like counterinsurgency
Yeah.
tactics, and I know like Black Panther kind of community programs, they have like a lot of the like breakfast program and stuff like that. So the federal government copy them, and basically kind of made them like also even though like,
Yeah,
even though like,
co-op.
yes, even
Yes.
though like what the federal government is giving us is like not as great as like what the Black Panther. There's like so much like genes testing
Yeah.
involved in that. Where like the Black Panther just don't care. Anyone can have this, anyone can use it.
Yeah, so if they control the means of production in that aspect, you're not gonna get free. You're not gonna like what they have to say here, you know.
What I was gonna say is when I was researching my part for this, when I was researching all the background history for this, it was a good point he made about how the FBI tried to take down the Black Panthers and COINTELPRO, and that all the information I could find locally about the struggle, it's curated and filtered. So like maybe there is that kind of history here, but it's so well kept hidden that I couldn't find it. I looked through several sources to find even the specific information I did find. But again, it would be going back to giving credit to black churches and things of that nature, which I'm not saying that they shouldn't get some credit, but they say, victors write history, the victors. So, they definitely, I would say that Louisville probably has even more untouched past and current potential.
As a good litmus test, I was trying to nail everything together. Good litmus test, where are they now on Gaza? You know what I'm saying? What are these churches got? The material struggles, when the shit's really going down, what's saying? What's this university got to say about, they ain't even talking about DEI, CRT, you know what I mean? So it's like, and that ain't even, that's way, in terms of the level of struggle. I know you ain't gonna say nothing about no Gaza, you ain't even, you know what I'm saying? So, what you got here?
We were talking about how, you were talking about how the books that are kind of the history of Louisville are curated. So maybe something that we could do now is have multiple record keepers from the community. That way, not just our generation, but generations to come have
Yes.
someone to look back at and be okay, they have this blueprint, we can use that, and then also adapt to the times of whatever's going on there.
So we're filming this talk, that's what I was like, we always said that we need radical political education. We're not gonna win this thing, we need to be studying these things in concert
As a party, if you could organize and muster that, you know what I'm saying, and then moving on right knowledge, you know what I'm saying, theory and practice, you know what I'm saying, out of the classroom into the streets. I got you here. Yeah.
I definitely agree with all the, talk about really, bringing the fight to them, like with the Black Panthers, how they really were taking a more militant approach to it and actually fighting back physically and also providing help to the community. I think that's something we need to get back to a lot more. I mean, we've seen how just, trying to work within the system has just, hasn't done much of anything. We get a few things here and there, but there's still, they're giving little concessions here and there so that they can keep the rest of the movement down and prevent it from toppling this awful system we have.
Now you see why they promote getting certain leaders and the ones that they do, because they don't, it's power to the people, not power to whatever ring group they got saying running, you know what I'm saying? The people, so we, you know what I'm saying, when we're out in the streets, boots to the ground, organizing, direct action, that's why I think we sent to that analysis. What you got here, I know where, I can do the last one we got over here, but.
I was just gonna be like, I completely agree with everything, but it's like, in the same breath that we talk about how we should really be doing this, we're dealing with way more, or radically different obstacles than they were back then. Like, we have the internet, we have just the internet in general brings a lot more obstacles. We have people that are like obsessed with celebrities and only care about what celebrities care about. We have people that are just invested in things that aren't really like, that's not the way to say that.
I don't know.
I think that's being
how can we, that's what the true radical thinkers is, how can we exploit them? Y'all love celebrities so much. Okay, you know what I mean? Let's get into, okay, because we're framing we're trying to, what's that, it's on Karl Marx's tombstone. The point is to transform. That's why I have a problem with DEI, and I know we gotta go, but it's like diversity, equity, inclusion. I have a problem with that I part. We want a whole new system. We want the end by the role of the capitalists, the robbery by the capitalists. So that's one of the points to the 10-point plan with the Black Panthers. So don't give us that, you know what I mean? So going from there, if we start with that, I think amongst ourselves, the ones who the loving, feeling, thinking people, we all gotta we gotta really study and move on strategy here. But I think that's my time, y'all. Thank y'all so much.